Welcome everybody to Hidden Assets. Today I have a very special announcement for you. We have a brand new tournament that's coming up. It is called the Water of Life Open. And this tournament is going to be put on through the community. I'm going to turn you over to the tournament organizer, and that is Holy Boss, who is here with me today. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Tell us a little bit about the tournament.
Okay, probably the first thing to address is for those of you that don't know, one of our own Agent of Zion passed away earlier this year, and we wanted to put on a tournament to kind of memorialize him or remember him, and also to in an attempt to support him and support his family if we can. So for this tournament, we're going to dedicate it to Zion and we're going to have an entry fee for this tournament, and all of the proceeds that we're going to have are going to go straight to supporting his wife. So we're going to ask the entry fee be $5, but if anyone is willing to and able to donate more to the cause, we'd really appreciate it. So um, a couple things to address as far as like different formatting changes go. I wanted to try a couple different ideas that we've tried from last tournaments. The community is getting quite large, so I, for one, wanted to try to see if we could try and run these tournaments maybe a little bit quicker, and I'll kind of address some of the possible that might come up with that a little bit later on. But so one thing, we're going to be playing Immortality with Ix. In the time frame, I'm hoping it'll be right around 6-7 weeks. It'll kind of depend on how many people enter the tournament. So we'll figure that out when that comes. But I'm thinking it'll be somewhere right around that time frame. So probably 3 weeks for groups, and probably 3 or 4 stages after that. At about a week apiece. We'll see how it goes. We'll kind of feel it out as it goes. So some of the specific different changes for this tournament to kind of cut down on some of the time, we're only going to have 2 or 3 people get out of groups. Again, depending on the number of participants. If it's 3, whoever wins their group will get a bye through the first group stage. Another thing they wanted to try out was to have everyone play in every different seat in their 4 group stages. So you'll play 1 game in first seat, second seat, third seat, fourth seat. So all that's all randomized already in the fixture. So once you figure out your group, you'll see exactly which games you're playing and which seats. So, and another way that we're going to try and what would you say, mitigate for possible scheduling issues is we're only going to take the top 3 scores out of the 4 that you play. So this will give you it'll also give us some flexibility for some people to miss some games here and there because you'll only need to have 3 games. It'll also kind of address the idea of playing for second. I know some people have been pretty vocal about not being a huge fan of how tournament formats incentivize going for second. So in this case, if we're only taking our 3 best scores and there's only 2 or 3 people getting out of the groups, playing for second is not going to really be much of an option. So not to say you can't get out of groups with a second here or there, I don't think. But we're hoping that will kind of knock out those 2 birds with 1 stone. And then the knockouts after that are going to be best of 2, so there's not going to be any single one and done matches. And then those best of 2s, since we've kind of decided as a community, or it seems pretty obvious at this point, that second and third seed are clearly the strongest, and first and fourth are the weaker positions. In those 2 game series, you're going to play your 2 games either from the first and second seat, or the third and the fourth seat. So it's kind of another way to kind of mitigate a little bit of the RNG there. So let's see what else. Okay, so the getting games played. I'm sure at this point you're probably thinking, "Oh, we're in a tournament that's taking a lot longer than 6 or 7 weeks, and we're still having scheduling issues. I mentioned a couple of the ways we're going to try and mitigate for that. The 3 of your best games, and we're only going to have 2 or 3 get out of groups, so that shortens the brackets after groups. And if we don't, so we're going to prioritize. We're going to try and prioritize. This might end up being a disaster. We'll see how it works. But if it is, we'll adapt. We're going to prioritize getting games played over having everyone playing their games, if that makes sense. So at some point, off the bat, I'll say this: if you have 15 kids and you're working on a PhD and you're working 80 hours a week, I'd probably suggest that you don't enter into this one, because you might struggle. If you're okay with the idea of not getting all your games played, if your schedule doesn't work out, then by all means hop in, and let's play. But if your schedule is really tight, I'd suggest maybe sitting this one out, because we're probably gonna have to make some tough calls as far as timing goes. And I already foresee possibly making enemies. I hope that doesn't be the case or end up being the case. But and just letting you know off the bat, so that's out in the air. It's a possibility. Just know that something might happen. You might get in a group where you're the odd man out, and everyone else can play this. The 3 other players can play the games, and your schedule just doesn't work out, and it's just going to happen. I know it's going to happen to some people. Just letting you know right now. So when we get to that point, hopefully it doesn't happen, but I'm sure it will, at least in some cases. We're going to have, if we can get 3 players into a game, we're going to get those games played, and we're also going to sub in the 4th players. So instead of playing 3-player games, you're just going to post an LFG, and get the 4th player to sub in, and we'll figure that out. You'll see more of the details in the document that I post. Kind of mentioning, some of the more minute details there, but and then that just leaves us with when. So we're hoping at this point, we're looking at March 30th entry cutoff. That's in, 10 days? So it's 320.
Yep.
So we got 10 days until entry cutoff, and at that point we'll see how many people are in, and we're going to cut it down to some kind of number that actually works, probably like iterations of 32. Or multiples of 32. And then we'll have a groups draw hopefully that weekend on the 1st or the 2nd, and then the 3rd is when we'll start. So those are all the tentative kind of dates. They should be pretty solid for now, but we'll see how things go. I know Cheeseable has this tournament on in the middle of what we would have groups there, but it's only one day, so we'll see if that ends up being a sticking point or a difficulty for people on that Saturday. Again, we'll kind of roll with the punches and see if things work out. If we need to extend a week here and there, we'll kind of figure that out. But that's kind of the basics. I'll post a document with more of the details you guys can read up. But
yeah, and all the proceeds mentioned are going to Family of Agent of Zion. The way we are registering people for this tournament, that's probably something we should say, is that we're doing it through our Patreon, and all the money for the entrance will be passed on to his wife. So that's the goal, right? I mean, that's kind of the long and short of it. Yeah,
that's the main thing, really. If you guys have the means to be generous, and we can take care of one of our own guys, it's kind of a cool opportunity to be able to do that. So
cool. I mean, thank you. Is there anything else we needed to say? I don't know. I think we covered most of everything. Everything that you heard will be in documents in the description below. All the links to registration and to donations or anything you want to do or give will be below. So poke around there to find what you need.
Yeah, if we missed something, it'll be gettable, and I'm sure we missed it, and I'll probably make a comment later and catch everyone up. So you'll have all the stuff you need eventually.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. This should be a really good time, and hopefully you are all looking forward to it as well. Thank you for talking to us today, and I'm glad we got to help out in small ways.
Yeah. Take care.
All right, take care, everybody.